Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Amazon's New World. So we have had quite a load of really interesting information on crafting and character progression, and I kind of really wanted to dig into a little bit more the crafting system. What are the trade skills, kind of what are the skills, how they're going to affect, and kind of how it's going to work through the game. I think crafting is really one of those core concepts that's so often neglected by MMOs. It's kind of one of those things that it's just a checkbox. MMOs just sort of look at it, yep, we have crafting, and that's kind of it. But really, I think it wants to be integrated into sort of a core mechanic. I'm not sure necessarily we can yet claim that New World does or doesn't do this until we get stuck in, but let's actually take a look at what we can learn from the developer blogs and kind of see what information there is available. We know they intend to implement around 16 trade skills, and these are going to then be further subdivided into 3 separate categories. These are going to be gathering, refining, and crafting. Naturally, logging, mining, harvesting, and skinning will make up the gathering skills, and I think are kind of pretty all self-explanatory about what they actually do. It would, however, seem from Amazon's description of gathering in the developer blog that certain materials will be unharvestable or unminable or uncuttable in the case of trees at low skill levels. So getting your gathering skill leveled up is actually going to be really important to get the raw materials you're going to need to sort of progress your refining and crafting trade skills. i.e. gathering is going to be a bit of a bottleneck unless you do it, so you are going to have to get your gathering level up. Interestingly, I noticed that the developer blog also mentions an ability to detect harvestable resources at higher skill levels. If that is the case, then that sounds like a pretty decent quality of life feature to me. Instead of sort of hunting through random bushes looking for an iron ore vein, you're just going to be able to check the minimap and find out where you need to go. So if that's the case, then that gets a big thumbs up from me. So once you've actually gathered your raw materials, you're going to need to refine that into usable crafting materials. So for example, iron ore into iron bars or rawhide into leather. And so on and so on, there's multiple examples. We don't know if there are going to be any sort of direct level requirements to refining materials. So by that I mean, maybe to smelt steel bars you're going to require a certain level. We do not know. But they do mention that at higher levels you are going to start to become more resource efficient and have a chance to gain extra resources whilst refining. This is then kind of further built on by the second developer blog, which goes into quite a bit of detail and uses quite a nice example of crafting healing potions. So they're going to say that, say a beginner arcanist who can craft a low level healing potion will be able to do it at a 1-to-1 ratio. So for one set of raw materials, they'll get 1 healing potion. But as you get to higher crafting levels, you may get up to sort of a 30% boost to quantity. i.e. if enough raw material was put in for 100 healing potions, then on average for that higher level player, 130 would be produced. And that seems kind of a nice way of encouraging players to continually to develop their crafting skills, because even if there isn't anything directly left for the player to unlock, the improved efficiency kind of does seem worthwhile. And it also seems to be quite a nice benefit that if a more experienced player goes back to craft some lower tier materials, or lower tier weapons, or lower tier armour, etc, maybe for a newer player, then they're going to get an efficiency bonus to that. However, things are going to work a little differently when it comes to weapon and armour crafting. As your crafting level starts to increase, and that's in both weaponsmithing and armour crafting, you'll find that your weapons and armour have an increasingly high range of gear score. For example, it's going to start at something like 200 to 210, and it's going to increase from there. Specifically, the upper range will increase first, and then slowly your minimum range will increase up as well. Interestingly, a skilled smith is going to be able to produce a more powerful low tier item, i.e. something like an iron sword, than a low skilled smith crafting a high tier item, say a steel sword. So that means that lower items crafted well could be better than higher items crafted badly. It can be kind of handy for equipping some of your lower level friends and allies and stuff like that. However, whenever you craft equipment, it has a random chance of both getting perks and a gem slot. However, you can increase the outcome and increase your chances of this occurring. Firstly, overspending your resources, i.e. using say 10 iron bars rather than 5, would increase the chances of you gaining a gem slot. Although it is worth pointing out that success isn't guaranteed. You can then also use Azoth to increase both the number, up to a maximum of 3, of perks, and also the level of those perks, i.e. them being level 1 or level 2 or level 3, etc. Although at this stage what those perks are is still random. You're not going to be able to guarantee all 3 of your perks, even if you are lucky enough to get 3 perks at all. But by adding in a special crafting modifier, something such as a Dragon's Glory stem, and which is going to be a random rare drop which you'll find while harvesting, unsurprisingly, Dragon Glory. Then you would be able to guarantee at least one of your perks, which in this case would be fire damage. This is giving you an element of control over your crafting, so even though you won't be able to guarantee all three, at least you're going to be able to pick one perk you want it to specifically to be. And these random crafting modifiers which you're going to be able to add in the crafting process are going to be kind of found throughout the new world, from processes such as mining, harvesting, killing specific creatures, and they should give you at least a decent chance of getting the weapon and crafting results that you want. Weapons and armour are not the only thing that you can make in New World, however. You also have to consider that you may wish to furnish and decorate your own house. And Amazon go on to say that they really want quite a low barrier of entry to be able to do decorative furnishing in your house in New World. And so we can expect most low tier decorative items will be able to be produced with a fairly low furnishing crafting skill. But there are more than just decorative items available. You're also going to be able to unlock trophies, something we kind of learnt about in some of the earlier housing blogs, and they're going to start to unlock with higher furnishing skills, so it could still be worthwhile levelling up this crafting level. And these, once constructed and placed in your house, are going to provide passive bonuses to things like crafting and combat. And this is going to help you, so once you leave town and go out into the open world to hunt monsters, you're going to carry these combat and crafting bonuses with you all the time. So they're going to be a pretty nice thing and well worth putting a bit of time in and getting set up properly. You're also going to have access to things like crafting storage chests. That's going to help increase your town's inventory space, so you can stash all that loot you get out in the open world. The blog then finishes off by saying that highly skilled crafters can craft and create equipment that is going to be just as powerful as that found in Eternum, and that battles will be won or lost by the skill of the player, not by whether an item is crafted or dropped from a boss or monster. Well, while I certainly agree that I think it's a good thing that the skill of the player plays a significant or the main part in winning a battle, and not, small stat differences on weapons, I do think they do need to be a little bit careful, given that the game is supposed to be a fully player-driven economy, that the crafting doesn't get too watered down or become too irrelevant by regular high-tier drops from NPCs. Crafting, considering the amount of leveling and grinding that's probably going to be required to get to a high tier, when you're working with your crafting, I think that it's really, really important that those items are rare and well worth selling on the market. So I hope we don't see too regular or very large amounts of drops from monsters and NPCs. And that about sums up all I've got for you today. Hopefully this has been a little bit of an interesting summary of some of the major things we can expect from the crafting system in New World. We are getting closer and closer to July in the beta now, so I'm still really, really excited to potentially get into the game and try things out. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you think in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe to the channel for a load more New World content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you all on the next video.